This is part 2 of the 5-part series walking through an example PPP lesson plan. In the first part, we looked at an overview of the lesson and talked about the warm-up. Here in part 2, we will walk through the introduction and the first P, which is presentation. So we are now ready to look at the stage of the lesson plan called the introduction. If you watch part 1 of the video series, you know that the warm-up involved the teacher sharing his or her best vacation story in the past simple tense, and then the students sharing with each other in pairs or small groups their own best vacation experience. And so the introduction is a short stage. Here it's allotted 2 minutes. And a good introduction seeks to just briefly give an overview of the lesson plan and the objectives, what we're going to do today. And then importantly, it also can establish a meaningful context for the lesson, as well as a context for the language input that is to come in the presentation stage. So this introduction has 2 parts. And the first part sort of uses some of the example sentences from the warm-up. The teacher will listen to some of the students report what their partner said about their best vacation and put a couple of those sentences up on the board. And it's important that those sentences be in the past simple. And that way we can kind of just review to say, well, why did we use the past simple? Because this was describing a trip. It happened at a specific time in the past and it's now finished. This is a review. We've been practicing this tense for a while now, right? Well, we can now switch sort of over into the lesson plan introduction, which is to say we have a different tense when we want to talk about our experience in general, when we want to connect the past experience in our life to our present state, to our present knowledge, and the time isn't important. So when we don't use the time in the past and we're talking about general experience, we use a grammar tense called the present perfect. And that grammar tense is what we will learn today and what we will practice in today's lesson. And we're going to use all 4 skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So now we are ready to look at the first P in PPP, which is the presentation. And this is really of paramount importance in any lesson plan because all second language teaching requires input. You have to expose them to new language in order to teach new language. And the presentation is the stage where you expose them, you show them that new language, and you want to do so in a way that is highly meaningful and that's highly contextual. You don't want to simply lecture about a grammar point and explain what a grammar point is in a vacuum. No, you want to give them examples of that grammar point and you want to make it clear what you're trying to communicate with that grammar point. And the same thing goes for vocabulary. You wouldn't give them a list of vocabulary. You would want to contextualize that both for an overall introduction that gives kind of the overall meaning, the topic of the lesson, and then you give them some sort of textual input that includes the vocabulary. So for this presentation, we've allotted 10 minutes. In the introduction, we've already said that we're going to be talking about life experience and using the present perfect. And so the first part of the presentation, the teacher shows the following sentences on the board, tells the students to read them carefully. So this could be something that the teacher writes on the board, or it could be something that is projected on the board that's already written. And you see there are 5 sentences here. They all use the present perfect with the subject of I. I have lived, I have traveled, I have jumped, I have eaten, and I have met. And you want to ask the students if they understand. These are all fairly simple verbs. Hopefully they would understand the verbs. But the first question we'd ask them is, do you guys know what grammar is being used here? And we already told them in the introduction, yeah, this is the present perfect. Well, here's the really important question. What is being communicated? What am I communicating to you with these sentences? And the answer is my life experience. These are things that I, the teacher, have done at some point in the past, but we don't know when. You don't know when I did these things. You don't know when I jumped out of a plane, when I met Barack Obama, and that's not important here because we're not talking about that action. We're talking about the fact that I have done that action at some point in the past. This is a present tense. Don't forget that. The past simple talks about the past. The present perfect is actually a present tense. It connects past experience to the teacher's present state. If we want to communicate about when something happened, we use the past simple just like we did in the warm-up. But here we're not communicating about the past. We're communicating about how my experience has changed me in the present. And so how is the present perfect formed? What do you notice about how it's written? Yes, all of these use I, but the teacher can write these sort of grammar equations on the board. If we have I, you, we, or they, we use have. Not is optional. That's why it's in parentheses. It can mean if we were using the negative, it would be here. And then we use verb 3 or the past participle. A lot of your students will have already drilled these things of, run, ran, run, eat, ate, eaten, that sort of thing. And if we use he, she, it, we don't use have, we use has, and then not, plus the verb 3 in the past participle. And so you want to make the students understand that these are 5 things that I have experienced in my life, and when is not important. It's more about the actual experience that I want to communicate. Now that we've given this presentation, we'll be ready for practice stage 1, which uses this presentation text, and I will describe how we do that in video number 3.